What's going on, traders? Welcome back to, of course, Start Swing Trading. It's been a hell of a weekend, turning around, of course, seeing the market bounce a little bit today. Let's talk all about the trades that I've had. And of course, we'll take a look at the winners and losers. We'll take a look at some new trades today. Yes, I got some new trades on and looking to maybe take a trade right now during this show. So don't go anywhere, team. You're at the right place. You're at Start Swing Trading. Let's get to the action and take a look. Like always, you guys smash the like button in the chat. Let's get it going. Let's get to the screen. Let's take a look at what the market is doing as we speak. You guys can see, let's go to the SPY. SPY's just been chopping around, right? We did get into the green earlier towards that 401. Then we chopped back down towards 397, kind of the supporting action. If you guys remember this morning, I did do some scratch levels on this and was looking at to see what would happen, right? Would we get back down below kind of the pre-market levels, which I think are really important? That after hours low there was 397.54. You can see we didn't want to break through that level, especially the 397.54 level. So now we're going to be looking for that level to crack here, especially going into the close. If we can close below that kind of 397, you are losing altitude on the daily, right? We want to see if this can recover the 50 moving average. That's just going to at least just show you that you're stuck between this price. We're setting kind of a new range, right, between around 401 and 394s. If we break below the 394, we can come back towards around the 380s as support, right? Well, we'll see what happens. Do we ever break this 394, coming back towards the 390s first, then 380s after that? And it's very important to see if we come back to these price points, because if we do, we'll be back in, of course, what? We'll be back right back into the channel that we've been calling out here for a while now. You guys can see that from this chart here. I'll go ahead and I'll delete some of the ones in the daily interest. But really, are we coming back here towards the 388s, and are we going to bounce there, 390s bounce there, or are we going to flush towards the 380s is what we got to keep in mind. Let's go to the bigger stocks really quickly before we talk about the winning and losers on the day. Did Apple fill in the gap? There you guys see it, filled the gap there pretty much on Friday, bouncing a little bit back there today. So I'm going to keep watch to see if we come back towards these levels of 145 or back above the 150s there for Apple. I do think back above 150, you can get the trend back towards 160. But of course, is the market going to hold on? That's what we're asking ourselves as we see this market just going sideways. Let's go to Tesla. Tesla was definitely one of the stocks that helped lead the rally today. Look at the hourly chart, just continuing on the uptrend. I think that this one was really important to try to get as close to 204 today as possible. We did get a pullback towards 204, 204.22s. It didn't get back there to 204 exactly, so I didn't get to join the party today for a swing to the upside on Tesla. Of course, they also do have their report and their kind of investor day that's going to start on, it's going to be March 1st, right? In just a couple of days. What we got? 2-3 more days for that. So we could get some run into March 1st and then see a little bit of a takedown. We'll see what happens there. Going to keep watch on Tesla. Where could it go to? Yeah, it could rip higher. It could go through the 217s, going towards the 230s. That's probably the resistance, the next layer that I could see us pushing towards. And then I would expect a little pullback. But for right now, I'm definitely not fighting Tesla to the short side. That looks like a nice bullish recovery of the 9 EMA. So as long as the price action stays above the 9 EMA now, I'm going to be looking at this in more of a long sense. But you guys choose your own, right? Tesla, not looking too bad. Bug calling out the AMC. We'll talk a little bit about AMC. I had a nice setup today. I was even calling it out on live trading. You guys could rewind and we'll talk a little bit about that stock coming up in a second. Let's get back towards the ones that I got stopped out of and took some winning, right? We want to go ahead and take a look here. So the first one that I want to talk about is Caterpillar. Stopped me out today back through the 240 spot. We had the levels drawn, right? I think that's an important thing to do for yourself. And we broke right back through it. We didn't want it to hold the 240s. It went right back through the 240s, and that stopped me out in Caterpillar. And it's just going to happen, team. But we do have some in the green right now. Let's talk a little bit about those. Let's get into the ones that we've had on, which was ADM. ADM is one that we've been holding here, looking for a move back above 81s. This has just gone sideways. But if we break 81s, we're definitely getting out of this trade. Got to be careful. Archer, Daniel, Midland. You guys smash the like if you guys enjoy some swing trading action. Welcome to the show. I see more of you guys joining right now. So hit the like and let's keep it going. All right, ADM, Archer, Daniel, Midland. Let's get to the next swing trade, which is Conagra brand. We've been adding to this one, looking for a close up there towards 37. Today, we even got the pop up there for a little while. It was up there. We went up there to 36.93s, 36.94s. Let's see if we can get back to 37. Of course, we have this one at 36.40s, so we're slightly below this. Really want to see the 36 hold. Want it to start driving back towards 38. And we're looking for a move essentially back towards 38, 39, and 40. We'll look to see if Conagra Brands can turn things around here. All right, let's go to another one that we took. And we took this one live for you guys. We were looking at it, Best Buy, and it's been a battle to stay into this one. But I've been highly convicted in this name, so going to continue to battle down the Best Buy. I think this run has gone way too far. And the daily chart, if we can break here 82s and really close towards 80, I think we can come back into this gap zone. Gap zone is towards 77. We'll see what happens on retail stocks this week. A lot of them are going to be coming out with earnings report. So that's something to keep in mind. And we got to be careful, especially when we're dealing with earnings. This stock reports, right, in 2 days. Who knows what can happen then? What I'm really looking to do is take some profits into a first move and then let the rest of it run. I don't mind holding into the earnings, but I'll tell you right now, I need to be having some cushion into the green if I'm going to hold into that earnings report. We'll find out right here, of course, on Start Swing Trading. Let's keep going. Let's get to the next stocks. Getting out of Best Buy. But I did want to mention that Best Buy did get a downgrade today by Tesla Advisory Group. They said that in the near term, we believe Best Buy is likely to experience further declines related to the challenging macro trends, weighing on discretionary consumer demand, given high inflation, rising interest rates, resulting in our lower 23 forecast for both sales and profits. This came from Tesla's group, and Joseph Fieldman is the one that wrote the note. We'll see what happens if Best Buy can really start breaking down there. This morning, it was actually at a really nice level. It was down there towards around 82. And if it would have cracked 82 going towards like 81, could have taken some profits in this. We'll see what happens. I'm in the green right now, not by much, but we got to keep watch to see what happens there. And Best Buy average is 83.15. So we got up there today. We almost got stopped out. We're going to look to see what happens on this one if it can really start to break down. And of course, we got to keep an eye out on what? Earning stocks this week, of course. There's a lot of earning stocks that are on the radar. So if you guys have any of these that are on your radar, make sure you throw them up in the chat. Let us know. What are you guys looking at tonight? Is it Zoom, Oxy? Are you guys looking at Target, Ross this week, Lowe's, Kohl's, Costco showing up on the list, Wendy's? Who's getting their Wendy's? We'll find out. Macy's Thursday before the bell. All that will be shaking definitely things up. And of course, what do you see on there? Well, of course, you see Best Buy also on there. We'll see what happens with this. It's going to be Thursday before the open. So if I'm getting out, it might be on Wednesday the afternoon. Unless I've been able to take some profits on Wednesday, then I'll go ahead and just kind of hold on to this Best Buy. We'll see what happens on that one. Let's keep going. You guys in the chat, smash the like button. If you guys are enjoying the show, let's get to where the stock market was really moving, and let's take a look at some rotation. Let's go towards the charts. You guys can see basic materials actually led us on the day. Let's talk a little bit about that. Basic materials getting a nice little lift here. What did well in basic materials? Well, coal is back, baby. BTU bouncing back a little bit after it's been really flush lately. Coal really not the stock that I'm looking at right now. Doesn't really look that great to me. The only one that I'd keep an eye out is AMR. I know I like BTU and I talk about BTU often, but look at this AMR monthly chart. It does look like it's loading up to really get moving back towards the 200. Just keep an eye out on it to see if we can get back through the 175. But a big day for it today, about 6.28% up. and this is a coal player. Aluminum getting a nice little lift. Alcoa, after the recent pullback. This is not really one that I'm really looking at, but is getting the lift. Now, FCX had been really strong, really starting to break down. We'll look to see if this can recover. This came back down to 39, 33s. SCCO also coming back down to the 70s. That one's already recovering. We'll see what happens here in some copper plays. Metals and minerals, there's areas that I'm looking at in here. A lot of the lithium names having a good day today. So let's talk a little bit about those. ALB, of course, getting a nice little push back. We'll talk a little bit about that one. PLL bouncing back. I do like this outlook on PLL. If you take a look here on the weekly, and we could delete some of these lines, right, so we don't get confused. Actually, let's even go to the scratch board, right? Well, look how PLL is pulling back here and now looking to try to catch some of this trend line and push right back up through these highs, right? And so we're looking for it to kind of push back through the 70s. If it could do that, hold 60s on pullback. That doesn't look too bad right now. You go to the daily, and what do you see? A lot of sideways action right above the 60s. Let's see if this can start trending back towards 70s and 75. MP put out good earnings the other day, and now it's continuing through that 34 high. This one doesn't look bad for a little reversal coming back towards the upside. MP Materials. Of course, LAC is another one that we can keep our eyes on. Lithium Americas, as it starts making its way back. LTHM is one more to go ahead and talk about some lithium names. Keep your eyes on these. All right. Of course, when we look at some gold bouncing back, we were talking about it last week with the dollar coming back. Would gold start coming back, right? This doesn't look too bad. Dollar has been getting a nice little up move. I have been looking at GOLD specifically to see if we're going to start reversing from this 16, as it, of course, it's a deep time frame pullback. But I don't really play gold too much. I have swung before, like AU. AU is one that I've had made some cash in the past, but it's a difficult trade by all means. I'll leave the gold right now to the side. Now, this is an area that I am looking, and I did take a swing trade today in steel. So this is the play in steel. You guys see the industry overall. It's been going like pretty much sideways, but we've been getting some good mentions with some names like Cleveland Cliff, right? Raising their prices on steel. Nucor. Look at Nucor bouncing back and has been doing well as of late. So I said, you know what? Forget Steel Dynamics. I'm going for the one that I love. Of course, X. X gonna give it to me. We'll see. We'll see if X is gonna give it to me today. Taking the shot on this one, I have already a small starting position at the 28.87, so slightly below the VWAP today, right around here. We're going to look to see if we can close back above 29s. That's a good look to start seeing the push, right? And really, it's going to be all about coming back for this trend line and getting towards the 30s. Big support underneath it around the 28 and 27.50 area. And so I can maybe do it right around that 27.40 area. And we're going to look to see if we can get back up there. If we can push through the 30s, we won't be looking too bad on U.S. Steel. Let's see if it can really start trending. Not too concerned about this play because it's just been building up, and we can see that sideways action. We know where the risk is on. All right, that's steel. We can take a look at some other trades that I'm looking at, and of course, it's in the same area. You guys smash the like. What do you guys think about the X trade? You guys like steel right now? Let me know in the chat. Put a 1 if you guys like steel. Put a 2 if you guys think steel is falling off the tape. And it could be a different stock. It doesn't need to be, X. It could be Nucor, Cleveland Cliff. It could be Steel Dynamics. There's so many steel stocks. I'll tell you that. There's a lot of steel stocks. If you look at the high cap names, right? There's even MT that most people don't look at. Steel Dynamics has been doing really great. RS, Cleveland Cliff. We talk about that one often. CMC. We'll look to see if some of these bounce back. Look at this TX. This TX has been really strong as of late. We'll see what happens with the steel plays. All right, catching up with the chat. I see a lot of talk out there. How we doing out there? Dylan, Richard, Bug. What's going on out there, team? Airbnb being brought up. I'll take a look at that in a second. Save your stocks, team. I promise I'll go through as many as possible. We don't have a guest today, but we got a full list for you for the rest of the week. Stay tuned. Rest of the week here on Start Swing Trading, it's going to be killer. I got Fromhertz up next on Tuesday. Yes, I said it. Christian Fromhertz will be joining us. On Wednesday, I got Option Mike. Excited about that. On Thursday, I got Anne-Marie Band. Yes. And then, of course, we got a CMT joining us on Friday. I'll let you know a little bit more about Michael coming up on Friday. But we got a lot for you. I got the full rest of the week planned out. I'm excited to see you guys on right here on Start Swing Trading. Let's talk a little bit about what else is making moves in the market. We can take a look at some energy names that are starting to get a little bit of a lift here. And you can see there was a little bit of a bounce in XOM, but not a good ending move here. Let's go to the overall market as we're starting to crack that 397.54 as we just talked about. We said, would we break down through that 397.54? Would we get to 397? It looks like we're starting to leak there as we start to cut down. That looks good there for a trade like my best buy trade as it starts to end the day really weak and going to be looking weak into tomorrow. Now I'm really looking for these kind of higher levels to hold and really start taking out the lows. We'll see what happens there on Best Buy. And the SPY coming down there, that's going to help on some short outlook. We'll see what else type of trades we can find. All right, let's keep going. We'll take a look at some other names. Looks like X. There's some ones there. I hear AMC is going to 100. Love Anne-Marie. Yes, Anne-Marie Band. She's killer for sure. Mitch Swing Hour Easy. Apes are swinging AMC from tree to tree. Be careful out there. AMC, you know it. I actually was looking at AMC earlier today, and I was talking about it because of what? Cocaine Bear. I was going to say Cocaine Cowboys. Cocaine Bear, of course. And I honestly was looking at this very early on in the day, and I talked about the levels that you guys had been looking at, right? It was the hourly setup, 15-minute setup also looking really clean. That's what I was looking for in AMC. We talked about these levels. Would we get right back up there towards the high here, the 650s, and then break to the 7s? It's actually got up there to a high of 819 on the day. Not a bad little breakout there in AMC. And you can see how it was building up right here around the 650s, 640s. We were looking for the VWAP to hold there and take out the highs. It definitely made a nice move there. And I can't blame you if you're able to make this type of trade. If you're making this in more of the day trade, I don't know if you're really swing trading this, but at the same time, it's not a bad little move. Right back through those highs, pushing through the 650s and the highs of the 679 from Wednesday. AMC, Cocaine Bear, getting the lift. Did it lift CNK? Yeah, it did lift CNK. Cinemark, this actually looks a little bit better, right? I don't think Cinemark's going away anytime soon, so keep your eyes on that one. Doesn't look bad at all. And just for that sake, I'll look at IMAX. I haven't looked at IMAX in forever. It is starting to come back a little bit. Doesn't look bad at all on the weekly. It's kind of like a little bit of a cup and handle, right? Does that look like a cup and handle to you guys? It looks pretty cup and handle to me. Keep your eyes on that. IMAX doesn't look too bad. GME, AMC will go way higher than DME. Yeah, I mean, DME, I think, is just on the leak, but it's very slow leak to the downside. All right, we'll see what else is going on with those. I did like some agricultural input, so I wanted to take a quick look at MOS. So I want to let you guys know this one. We've been looking at this one for a while now. Take a look at the levels that we've been drawing out on here. We drew these on the 22nd. So if we're talking about the 22nd, we're talking about on Wednesday, right? Last week, we were starting to look at MOS, and that's right here when we started to lift through this kind of 54.50s. Now we're up there to 51s, held the 51 pullback, pushed up there to 53s today. So I saw this mosaic and I was like, ooh, I really like this play, but I think I've missed the levels to jump in on mosaic. So I'm going to be looking for a different one to make a run. And then, of course, the chat helped me out in live trading, and they actually talked about this one. I think it was Easy that might have been bringing this one up, which was NTR. So you know what? I started looking at this pattern, especially after I was done kind of with my live trading action, and I could see that bottoming action. I could see the kind of reversal that we were looking at. So I said, you know what? I'm willing to go ahead and at least take a starter here in NTR. I took a starter there at 77.81. So that's a little bit slightly below the VWAP today. And looking for some pullbacks on this one to get some add. And that's going to be down there through these kind of levels below. Let's see if we can actually get down to that. I can add all the way through 77 back towards around 76.80s. Going to look for this one really on the daily to get back towards 80 and looking for that low kind of to hold here towards 75. So let's see if we can actually get this one moving. I think what really will happen there is Mosaic will kind of lead. If Mosaic could get through the 55, won't be looking too bad. And for that being mentioned, I'll mention one more that usually lags behind MOS and could be lagging behind right now, NTR, which is CF Industry Holdings. If this could get back above 88, won't be looking too bad. All right, let's keep going. We'll take a look at some other ones. These are just kind of plays that are on my radar, but there are a lot of retail names coming up for earnings. I see you mentioning some of those, Jay. We got no problem running through those. We can take a look at some of these. I'm definitely taking a look at the Oxy play. I was watching it today to see if this seemed like it was going to get a nice bounce back on the day. I think it's 50-50 right now on Oxy. I don't think I could take it long into the print, but hey, that's up to you guys. If you guys feel that you guys can swing this one on the earnings, of course, we're looking for kind of Warren Buffett mentions, but if it cracks down through 56, will he come after it? He might come after it after it already takes an earnings beating. So you got to be careful with that, right? Will he wait for the earnings to come through and then come to the name? Something to keep in mind. We'll see what happens in Oxy. All right, there's some other ones to take a look at. Target. This one's been a tough chart for me because I've been looking at Target and thinking that we could close this gap to the left-hand side, which is a monstrous gap. I mean, just think about it, right? Where we're at right now towards that gap close, that's about 26, 27%. So it doesn't seem too bad for me to at least think about it, but this looks like it can't hold 170. It went to 170 today, 169.87, rejecting that. I'm going to have to wait for the earnings. I don't want to jump into this one. It doesn't have me leaning any one way. And so since it's in between, we'll have to find out what happens there on Target. Keep your eyes on it because it's going to be a very important report that hits tomorrow morning. All right, you guys can see that, of course, on our earnings calendar. Get that off of Benzinga's Twitter. If not, I can give you guys the link so that you guys can download, of course, our earnings calendar. All right, let's keep going. Another one that we'll be reporting tonight is Zoom. How will this one perform? I was keeping an eye on it, thinking it could maybe get a little bit of a bounce, but we're talking about Zoom here. It's going to be a tough one. But if it can get back above 80s, I think you can fill this gap on the upside. So after the earnings report, if we see it up here towards around 80s tomorrow, maybe this one can actually work its way back into this gap going towards 90 and 98 above. We'll see what happens there. Zoom Communications, of course, hasn't been a favorite in a long time, but who knows? Maybe it turns around. Hammer Saul says Target's bearish. We'll see. We'll see when their earnings report comes in. Can you specify if you're trading short or long, please? Of course, definitely. I want to always specify if I'm trading short or long. So like NTR, that's going to be a long. X is a long. Conagra brand is a long. Short is Best Buy. And we got one more, ADM, which is a long. So majority longs, right? And some of these are in different plays, right? We do have one short play on that Best Buy that we'll keep a watch on. All right, X holding in there. The 29s doesn't look too bad. I talked about how I wanted to see that one close above 29. At least it's closing good. We'll see if it can hold the VWAP now. All right, let's keep going. Did we talk about Oxy already? Yeah, we already talked about Oxy, but of course, just stay alert. We'll see what happens after the bell when the earnings reports go through. It's a little bit 50-50 for me on that Oxy. I like that, it's already been beaten down, but who knows what can come off of an earnings report. All right, let's continue going. Just taking a little drink here. Gonna keep going. Hope not. I'm short. We'll see what the deal is. All right, let's keep going. We'll take a look at some other names here. Let's get back to the SPY. Let's take a look at some of our leading stocks on the day, right? There was some leading stocks in where? There was some leading stocks in solar. So keep your eyes on some solar names. These continuing as they just don't want to turn around. Look at First Solar. We started to kind of break down. We started looking like we're going to cut down towards 160, and now we're starting to come back. This is where it just gets really hard with some solar names. They've just been hanging in here. ENPH is the one that's been completely just beaten down as of the last kind of 3 months. But First Solar has just been hanging in there. I thought by now we would crack First Solar. So keep that on watch. We'll see what happens. SEDG coming back there through that 300. It looks strong. It looks like it's trading kind of more on this kind of weekly candle or maybe even a monthly. So I would really focus on kind of weekly supports right now to kind of see those kind of keep holding. But you can see how we're trying to push back there through this kind of trend line and get back up there to the 330s. This actually doesn't look that bad of a setup on SEDG. You just got to kind of hold towards the support. Supports are around the 280 spot. You can maybe drag it down, kind of round it up there. I think 280 seems like a good level, but you're in the 314s, so just keep that in mind, right? Will we come back and actually take out the 330s? That's something to look for. I do see multiple attempts to try to get there and a fourth attempt to try to break out. Seems like a lot of the times, what do we do when we get that fourth attempt? We come back and we test support. We came back and tested support, and now that support's actually held a little closer towards here, the 290s. Now starting to come back. Will we come back and take out that 345.80? That's what I'd be looking for if I was a bull on Solar Edge Technology. One to keep on watch. All right, let's keep going. We can take a look at some other names. Definitely a lot on the list coming up. Let's get to some of the ones that you guys were talking about. WBD, let's take a look there. Warner Brothers has just stayed strong, hasn't turned around. I think eventually this will turn around, but I've been truly impressed. And I wanted to get Warner Brothers multiple times for the little spike, but it never held the spikes. Every time it would spike, it would come right back down. Now it's been holding the spikes, especially above 14. And we're going to keep watching to see if this one can keep driving. This isn't making the most money. It doesn't have the kind of the biggest growth outlook. So I'm not, jumping out of my shoes for it, but something that I'll definitely look for. You can see how Paro is pulling back here. I think eventually you get WBD to pull back closer towards that 14. I wouldn't be chasing it here, but like always, you guys choose your own assessment. It has continued strong, at least on the hourly, holding the supports, continuing to climb. Higher lows on the hourlies. And look at the last kind of trend here on the dailies. Let's see if we can really start closing above 16. The daily high of 1605 acting as some big resistance above. All right, that's Warner Brother Discovery. Let's take a look at some other ones in the chat. What are you guys talking about? What are you guys looking at? Keep throwing up those tickers. We'll take a look at them. All right, one being brought up by Kevin here, SIDU. Let's take a look at this one. This is kind of one of those smaller aerospace defense names trying to close the gap to 90. I can see it closing the gap to 90 cents, but that's about it. This isn't too much on here. We'll keep watch on some other names. ULCC, Frontier Holdings. I know it got a rating upgrade today. We're just keeping an eye on it. But not a bad-looking candle that just got hit there on kind of U.S. Steel. It pulled back there to the 29s. Slightly below it, and then just popped right back above it. We'll look to see if it can actually take a nice little step up. SPY trying to hold that 397 area. Now we're really starting to cut down towards 397. Talked about this before the show started. Would we come back towards that 397? Looks like we're doing it right now. All right, let's keep going, team. You guys know where you're at. You're at Start Swing Trading. Let's get to the action and continue the trading ways. Let's go. Let's take a look at what you guys are watching. Cocaine Bear bringing out big price targets on AMC. I'm sure they're bringing them out. All right, there's some tickers. Wonder if Mitch still has Para that he was buying at near 17 or in December of 2022. Well, I don't got it, man. I don't got it. I talked about it. That was with the Warren Buffett news, right? And we were looking at that down at 17. And part of that was looking at the World Cup, right? And that was a World Cup type of play. And I think that sometimes, you know, you guys will even hear me be on top of a play, but you guys keep up with that play. As you see, EKS even knows about it. Para made a good move back above the 20s. I remember, I think I got stopped out by like a penny or two on that name. And that's how it happens, team. The key here is always trying to figure out, am I being too tight with my sizing? Am I being too tight with my risk? Trying to figure out ways to get above and beyond that. Of course, reviewing your trades is going to help you do that. Maybe using something like average true range to understand the volatility in the name so that you're risking the right amount for the right reward, right? Let's keep going. Let's take a look at some other ones. DXY tricks, not DXY chicks. Well, we'll see what happens out there. There's a lot of tricks out there, definitely. OCGN by SRT8. Let's take a look there. All right, this is a cheaper name trying to get back above the $1 spot. And you can get a pop above $1. The only problem there is that they're usually short-lived. That's what I'd say about stocks that pop back above $1. Why are they trying to get above $1? That's another thing to keep in mind, right? When stocks are trying to get above that $1, it's because they're trying to stay what? They're trying to stay on the exchange, right? They're trying to stay compliant to that. Well, they can do a lot of different financial engineering to try to get it above that level. And I think that this is when you can have that pop. But the only question is, how much more of that pop are you really going to receive? Be careful on stocks like this. Remember, when we're talking about a stock that is $1 or cheaper than $1, when you go up even, let's say 10 cents, right? You're talking about 10, 11% move, right? This is what we need to be thinking about. 10 cents, 10%. Do you really want to be risking or going for that? That's what you need to keep in mind, especially if you're going to play it with bigger sizing. Be careful. Understand the percentages. They change when you go for these smaller names. And yes, a smaller move is a higher percentage, but also a smaller move against you is a higher percentage loss. All right, let's go to Shop. Shop was one that was on our radar, looking for the 40s to bounce today. We talked about that on pre-market prep. Is that a level to buy off of? We see the bounce off of 40. It definitely got bought up there. Now, the only question is, do we want to swing this off of the 40? I think what it is that right now, I don't really just see it that, you know, growth stocks are just going to come back in one way. And so that's why I'm not attacking Shopify, even though it does look interesting on this pullback towards 40. I could see why you would be looking at this, but you would have to hold off the next daily low. Next daily low is 38.14. And if it cracked that, I'd have to get out. So this is one that I'm really going to kind of keep an eye out. And if the market can keep coming down, and for any reason we keep breaking down and this gets back down to 26, 25, or anywhere below that, I will definitely take a shot on Shop long term, but that won't even be a swing. That will be kind of more in the long-term hat game. All right, UNG brought up in the chat. You guys, wouldn't you know it? Look how we went down there towards 714. We're actually reaching that 9 spot on UNG. And there was another one that I wanted to bring up with UNG to keep an eye out for, which was LNG. We talked about this morning on live trading. Look at the hourly chart that LNG is putting in here. And I'm really looking for one more pullback towards around 155.87, 156. Today, earlier, we went to 156.32. I wanted to get below that and recover. If we can do that, start making our way back towards 158 or take the shot off of there, off the 155. That doesn't seem bad for me. Look at the daily chart. You got inside candles here. Let's see if we can actually push right back above the 160, going to 161. This won't be looking too bad if it gets that 163 outlook. We'll see what happens there on LNG. Can we get that to run? We'll keep an eye on it. HC, looking at Chevron. Chevron's not a bad stock, but I think Oxy is going to depend a lot on what happens on Chevron today. Chevron could not get through that 163 today. Seems like there was sellers right there trying to meet that, shorting probably right off of these levels of 163.74. It's just going to be all about Oxy tonight. Oxy has a really good report. I think you'll see Chevron right back up there. If Oxy just gets destroyed, I don't think you'll see Chevron destroyed, but you'll definitely see it continue the downward trend, and it can be right back towards 160. All right, let's keep battling. There's a lot to do today. You guys know it. Don't have a guess, but I got you guys. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to take a little sip and let's keep pushing. You guys drop those tickers. Let's keep looking at these swing setups, and there's a lot to go around. All right, let's keep going. Let's take a look at some other ones. Damn, tried to short that ES pop. No fill. Hey, it happens to the best of us. LAZR by Neil. Let's take a look there. This has really started to get back off the ground, and I think it's an important thing to keep these Luminar, LIZAR, all these kind of companies in your mind, right? Because I think in the long run, I definitely want a little bit of a piece of one of these that's going to have some success. I've actually had LAZR before. I had it in the 16s and 17s. So I'm kind of happy I let go of it, right? This one went down to a low there of $3.91, but it is coming back. It's had some good deals as of late and really started to push. Now for me, what do I need to see on LAZR to really show me that it wants to continue? Is let it pull back, let it hold eights on any pullback, and then really start driving. Today, what do? We pulled back right towards that 8 on the support in the pre-market multiple times and then bounced up there towards 9. Make sure those 8s are holding. If I think if you crack 8, you could easily be right back down there. But if we continue this trend and just keep climbing, that doesn't seem too bad. I'd look at a little bit of a trend here and make sure that I continue that trend and climb through the 950s. That's the next level up to the upside. And then we can get to the $10 spot. Once we get to 10, you're going to run out of kind of that SPAC phase where a lot of people sold through that $10. They might be starting to buy back through 10. So let's see if we can get above 950s and then base there. That's what I'll be looking for on LAZR. All right, let's keep going. Siri from Gary J. Let's take a look. Siri. All right, Siri is a little bit of a harder one. It's very high float, doesn't move much. Just look at the monthlies. This tells it all. It held. Look at the quarterly. Look at the quarterly. I never do this, team. You're looking at a quarterly chart. Look how this broke here. This is why long-term trends matter so much, right? So look at this long-term trend. And then now you start to break. When that breaks, that's not a good outlook from here, right? You were holding this for so long. This was about 4 years to the right. Now you've really broken. I think you're starting to see the end of SiriusXM. Yes, I said it. Could be starting to see the end of SiriusXM. All right, let's keep going. How we doing out there, Humba Ninja? Hit the like button. Let's keep going. I got more stocks for you. SQ, I got you. EWM, just smash the like button. Let's keep going. SQ, let's take a look there. Reversal off of here. Let's go to the monthly candle here. You can see how we came back into this price zone around 58 and 53. That's really where we've kind of bounced off the monthlies. Now we've gotten above the 70 mark and started to hold this as support right around the 70s where we kind of broke away from. But there's some big resistance above in the 90s. That's where we turned around from last time. When we got up there, it was a quick turnaround. Look to see if we start holding 75 on pullbacks. Look at the 4-hour chart. Look how we've been coming back to the 75 spot, 74. We reclaim it and then really quickly right back down. So that's where I want to start seeing us actually starting to hold is 75 closing up there. You don't want to see it back in the 74s. That easily puts it right back towards 72. One thing on block that I'm also paying attention to is that it's been going kind of against with the kind of cryptocurrency. Another thing is PayPal's also on the pullback after getting a nice pop on the earnings. So these are just out of favor. And you really need to see these turn into favor, I think, before you're going after them. Because if not, it could just be a slow leak down and continuing down. So who knows? Square could be right back to where it was before the pandemic, which was down here towards kind of that 61s, 50s levels again. And that was all 2019. In 2018, it was even at 64. So you're back down pretty much towards 2018. That's going to be what we're looking at. We're looking at like 4 or 5 years back on block. It's not a bad long-term approach here, but if I don't swing trade, I want to see some more strength first. All right, let's keep going. Do you swing the Qs? Northwestern Canopy Development asking about the Qs. Very rarely would I swing the Qs. I would probably go for more of a stock than, let's say, a particular name. Like one that I was looking at was Nvidia, because it just seems to me like we're a little bit high, right? Like we keep coming up here towards these resistance. We've touched it now like 2-3 times. And whenever I start seeing that, it looks to me more like a reversal. So yeah, trading this trade would be very similar to maybe kind of shorting the Qs, right? And so you can see here multiple attempts for Nvidia to try to get through 238. It could pull back and just kind of fill the gap, right? Fill this gap some. Start working its way back towards 220s, 210s. Doesn't look too bad. We'll see what happens there. Inside day and just kind of hanging on here. If it gets back to 238, at least you know you're out. That's what I like this type of trade. And that's why I would swing more the actual ticker versus the Qs. But if you wanted to take the Qs, it really isn't too far of an approach from off of that. You can take a look at the highs, right? You can see here, you keep trending off of these highs here on the top end. And now we're looking for what? I'd be looking for hourly resistance to come into play. You can see today, you kind of rejected the 296 level breakout. Now we're looking for a takedown through 297 or 292s going towards 291s. I can maybe use 295 if I wanted to risk off of that. But you see how this is a little bit of a tougher chart than, like, let's say an Nvidia that has clear resistance right above it that I could go off of that risk. All right, let's keep going. Just taking a look into there. Like always, you guys choose your own assessments. I can't tell you what levels to take, what entries. The only thing I can do is show you what I'm looking at, and then you guys make your own call. All right, let's keep going. Can I check SNES? I got you. There's no stock I can't check, man. I'll check them all. The big thing is, can we have an advantage here, right? Smaller names like this is only trades like 231,000 shares. I'll tell you right now, it's going to be a tough one to call. Whenever you trade such little shares, it's just really tough to kind of make a call on it because it could be pumped, it could be squeezed, those types of names, especially when they have the low float type. This is starting to come back, but nothing that stands out to me on the chart. It just shows me that $2 or 180s seems to be like the breaking point for the downside action. Upside action's above 225s. This would have to get starting to get moving, let's say towards 3 before I would look at it. But it is at least bouncing off that $2 spot. We'll look to see if it can hold $2. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this cracks right back down. But that's just my personal opinion. All right, XLE, we've talked about oil names. This is trying to make a comeback. But if this starts cracking the 200-day, that's when we got to start looking at some oil names to the downside. If this can get back to 88s, look for maybe we come back towards the upside outlook. I do think that we could get the upside outlook, but Oxy is going to depend a lot on that report tonight. If Oxy can come back, be back above 60s tomorrow, yeah, we can look at XLE. We'll see what happens. Will Shop go down with Target earnings tomorrow? Yeah, it could very much. I mean, a lot of earning stocks and retail stocks could go down with that Target earnings report tomorrow. So keep on watch on there. Walmart overall has been pulling back also. And Walmart gave us a lot of warnings, right? Will Target do the same? If Target gives the warnings, just be careful. We probably could be taking a big hit to the downside, at least on these retail names. All right, let's keep going. WFRD, very strong oil service and equipment stock. WFRD. Let's see what area this is in. This is oil, gas, equipment, and services. Okay, so we're going to take this more as an approach to the chart itself, right, which is an absolute monster of a chart. And you can see it holds 9 EMAs constantly. And this one did a nice little pattern as of late and then pushed above that. Now has created a new kind of bottoming action around the 60s, popped right back up there to 67. But you got resistance right in here into the 68s. You're trying to clear that 68, especially around the 67, 90s. Look at the hourly chart. You can see a lot of resistance there. Now you're just going to look to see if you clean break through 68 going to 69.25. If you can get a clean break there and it just keeps going, it won't look too bad. If it breaks above and pulls back down below that 68, I'd look for pullbacks closer towards 66 for this on WFRD RD, but it does look strong right now for an oil, gas, equipment service stock. You can take a look at the industry overall. I always like to take a look at industry. You can see here on the daily, you kind of pushed back above. This actually doesn't look too bad, especially as you start to clear back above this level. Let's see if we get to the 1200 on some of these names. High cap names in that space is going to be like Schlumberger, Halliburton, BKR, TS, NOV. Of course, you're still looking at the one that you like, WFRD, CHX, Champion Corporation. This one doesn't look too bad either. If you like these kind of names, I'd keep a lot of these on my radar. A lot of them are setting up for a nice little push back. The question is, will it go for the breakout to the upside? We'll see what happens on these. CHX, WFRD, doesn't look too bad. How would you explain, how would you approach a short sell on a swing trade? All right, Harvest. So the big thing for me on swing trades to the short side, right? You want to be looking at kind of some daily levels, right? I always try to start with more kind of daily levels approach before I'm attacking certain stocks, right? Let's think about what type of stock. I mean, I know Best Buy, but let's go to another one. Let's do AliExpress. Let's do what's some retailers' names? Team, throw some out there for me. A&F. Let's do this one. Perfect example. I got you, Harvest. I'll set one up for you. All right. So let's say if we were thinking, okay, and this is the thinking right behind the trade, right? We're like, this is how I like to approach trades, right? The first thing I'd do is I'd be like, okay, so I'm thinking retail trades can come down this week, right? Why do I think retail trades could come down? Well, the consumer tight, right? Not maybe spending as much as we thought they did in December, and seeing this start taking a hit, especially if these stocks give guidance looking forward that's not positive, right? So that's going to be the mentality. That's the story behind the thinking of the trade. Now let's go to the stock. This is how I would approach it. So I'd look at the stock. I'd start looking at daily and weekly levels, right? Let's look at the weekly levels first. Did we reject off of a support? Well, look to the left. What was the support here? I'd put it closer towards right around here, and you can see right around that kind of support. And if you wanted to, you could maybe make it a little bit down, but where these kind of bunch up candles are, it looks like kind of a nice little level off of that kind of 32 level. So it looks like we got up back towards 32, but really couldn't get through that. And we've rejected up here in the 31s before. It hasn't been the first time that we rejected up here. So from that level, I could see, okay, we're starting to reject from there. Do we get the rule of three at the top? For me, that's going to be 3 or 4 attempts trying to break out. You can see it here at 1, 2, 3. Fourth attempt tries to break out. It even tries one more time on this 31 and starts to come down. Now I'd look for breakdowns starting to work their way back. So we can look at this support here and see, do we start to come work our way back here towards these levels? $30 was the first level to break. It went down. It came back on this day to $29.87. Now we're starting to hold this resistance, $29.58. So if anything, I'd start looking at levels like that to try to get short off of. I'd use like an hourly chart, start drawing kind of trend lines, looking for pops back to get short. So like, let's say if I can get a move back above 29 and risk off of the 30, that's how you can get swing short, right? And you're going to usually use some tight levels, looking for the daily level to really crack back down towards this low here, let's say on the 2780s. If you break 2780s, you got a shot to crack down towards 2660s. And then now you're really far from your entry and really starting to get that swing down effect. That's what you're looking for. Swing down on these with a nice tight risk right above it. Like always, you choose how much risk you want to take. But a lot of times for me, that's going to be more looking off of the daily levels and trying to get those little pop back to get short on, and not trying to get short on chasing, right? If I get short here at 2770, I could easily get a spike back towards 2923s. If I do that, a lot of the times that's going to be with the tiniest share size on the entry and look to add. All right, that's going to keep us going. I hope that you guys enjoyed me taking a second. And Harvest, you're always willing to ask questions and always able to, so just keep it going. All right, let's take a look at some of these other ones. Lulu. All right, Lulu's been pulling back from the 309 spot. Let's go to the weekly or the monthly, and you can see how this has been kind of holding on. It's been rejecting that 381 where it kind of really kind of pushed up there. Now back down to the 300 spot. My only concern here is that I'm starting to also see Nike pull back. I don't necessarily like consumer cyclical type of stocks right now. That's not where I really want to be. Like, I know that some people are looking at like Crocs here. And I think this eventually can turn around and come right back down. I was looking at Foot Locker for eventually maybe getting a short off of the 45. It got back today to around 44.21s. Didn't get back towards that 45, but just keeping an eye out on these. I don't really like them going into kind of the next couple of months. I could see the consumer starting to weaken. And if that happens, do I really want to be in consumer cyclical stocks? High beta names hang out in these consumer cyclical names. But the only problem with that is they go up as fast as they also come down. So you got to be careful with those. All right. You've done a great job in all your shows. Hey, always here for you, Harvest. And if you have any questions, just keep dropping them. We're here for you. All right. Got to believe most of the wage growth coming from the lower end service type company hurts retail. Yeah, it does hurt retail. Let's just be honest. The retail companies are the ones that have to give these raises, right? These are a lot of the times, these are kind of the minimum wage workers, and they need to increase their wages to keep them, right? We'll see what happens on names like this. Macy's, I already saw starting to cut down. They report later. This looks weak, right? And that's also telling me that when Macy's comes weak, we start seeing the hit. KSS could take a big hit. DDS had been coming down as of late. I did do that quick cut down, but has been coming back. Man, a little part of me feels like swinging some Dillards, but I'll tell you right now, this is the beast of all beasts of stocks. I'm trying not to do it because I've told myself to respect myself on a name like this, but I'll tell you right now, looks interesting for me. All right, let's keep going. The DDS, we'll see if the Dillards finally cracks and starts coming down. How's our hotel names? Because those were so strong. Marriott starting to pull right back down after that recent rip towards the upside. That's why I was thinking to look at like an Airbnb, but this is a hard one. We saw it close the gap, so it looks interesting here. What do you guys think about Airbnb? Let me know in the chat. You guys like Airbnb? Bullish, press 1. Bearish, press 2. We'll see what you guys think. If you're new, you should make smaller trades. Jerry Wesley says you wouldn't bet Tiger Woods 10,000. You can beat him at golf. 100% Hammer. Got to know your sizing and understand that if you're going to take multiple trades, it's okay to go small sizing. You'd be so surprised some of the money that I've made from some small plays that I just let work. I think it's an important thing, especially as newer traders, to understand that we can go small and just work at first, even focusing on percentages first versus the actual money made. And then if you can push that next level, don't worry, the money will follow. Just worry about execution first and worry about a system. All right, let's keep doing it. Patrick saying 1, Neil saying 2. It's a mixed signal out there from Airbnb. I see some 1s, mainly 2s, but there's still some 1s mixed in there. We'll see what happens. More 2s coming in there for Airbnb. It's a tough one, team. We'll see what happens. Let's go to SPY overall. Now we're down there. We did cut through towards the 397 and bounce right off of that level. We're looking at that earlier in the day to see if we would come down there. So we went down there to the 397, but just bouncing right back. That's how this market is. The chop market, right? Best Buy now doing really well. Now down there towards the 82.65. Really just wanted to break through that 82. If I could see that breakthrough 82 tomorrow, get down there below the 82s towards the 81s, I could take some profit and then really just let this Best Buy trade work. That's what I'm hoping for. We'll just have to find out if we can get that type of move. And I've been going for a higher conviction swing in this Best Buy. All right, let's keep going. We'll see what else is going on. Easy, your knuckles going to drag carrying those bags. Hey, don't worry. I heard Easy has some big knuckles. He's ready for it. We'll see what happens in the market overall. Let's go to to Apple overall? How did that close on the day? Just kind of sideways. Tesla's still looking strong. We'll look to see if that continues to climb. It's about 3:56. We got 4 minutes left, team. I've been going about this for an hour, looking at charts. So you guys smash the like. You guys enjoy the action. All right, let's keep looking. Did any other names did I not get to? I talked about some energy names. We went through, this is one that I didn't touch. MPC, Marathon Petroleum Corp. This one looked good for me, team. Look at the daily chart. Daily chart looks interesting on this Marathon Petroleum Corp. And you can see here, we've been holding this long-term trend line towards the upward path. Now we're looking to try to get back above this kind of close here to the left around 127.30s. Can we get there towards the 130s? Of course, this is going to depend on Oxy's report tonight. But if I think we could get a good report and we start driving in some oil names, I'm going to definitely look at MPC to get that lift back above that 129, 130 area. Doesn't look too bad, especially if we can start driving through there. I like this name in the long term, at least, especially because the chart just keeps holding on. Any pullbacks get bought up. We'll see what happens here on Marathon Petroleum Corp. All right, Fisker. Let's go to it. The frisky Fisker was doing well today, and I saw some report that the Ocean's finally going to be coming out and be delivering in the spring. It doesn't look too bad. It's held the pullback. I talked about this pullback to the 690s, and it wasn't a bad move, right? Even the move back to 740s, 9% move. Hope somebody was watching live trading. But Fisker, nice little lift now. I think this is all going to be more about if it can keep going through kind of daily levels. Next stop is 8, but Tesla needs to keep driving. You need the kind of the EV kind of push. I know that China EVs were doing well earlier in the day. Now you're seeing LI come down there. XPEV come down today. Ford had a nice little pop out the gates, but pulling back now. So we need Tesla to stay strong. If we're going to continue this Fisker run, we need Tesla. We need it. We'll see what happens. All right, let's keep going. MP, what's up out there? MPC? I like MP without the C. Yeah, MP does not look bad, Jay. We talked about this one. And they had good earnings, good report on MP Materials. And what I like about MP Materials is the monthly charts look good here. Now starting to work its way back, holding above 36. PLL, another one that I like on monthly chart or weekly chart pullbacks. This one looks good here. Really similar to that kind of 63, 62 outlook. PLL, Piedmont Lithium. Keep your eyes on some of these. They don't look too bad at all. Google was one that I day traded today off the 90 team, and it didn't do bad. It's starting to push here towards the close. So if there's one that I would maybe look at some of the big boys for a swing, it might be this Google off the 90, but you would have to hold really close to the 88, 86 level on the daily levels. And of course, Google's been its own little almost bear market. It's been down about 17.5% from those highs right up here. And that's a big move. 20% is its own bear market. So we'll see. Can Google bounce back? I think at some point Google's going to bounce back, especially because this was more based off of the flush, right, from the AI event. Sometime I think Google bounces back, but we'll have to find out. Is now the time. And to put it in perspective on daily RSI, I like to do this for stocks when they're in extreme moments, right? When you see a stock that's going down really fast, rewind the RSI, look at the levels. Just look and see, okay, usually right around here, we reverse. So we're close to these levels. We've been around these levels before. And what did we do last time? Well, just take a look right down here. Didn't look too bad down that RSI. And then we got the bounce right back up. So look where we're coming towards right now, right back near those levels. Let's see if we can get a little tick near that and start seeing that reversal here in Google. So in the next couple of days, I could look for a reversal coming for Google. We'll just have to wait and find out. But stop the clock. You know it. It is 4 p.m. That's going to do it for us today. I hope you guys enjoyed all the action that I do right here on Benzinga. Of course, you guys can follow me on Twitter, Money Mitch, at Money Mitch BZ. give me the follow. I have a verification check, so you don't got to worry about the spammers out there on the Instagram. I don't know what happens on there. But on Twitter, you guys can give me the follow. I'm going to keep watching these trades. Looking good in Best Buy. Of course, we have some swings on, right? Best Buy, ADM to the upside, Best Buy to the downside. Conagra brands, not looking too bad here. Starting to get a lift there. NTR, we took a little bit about this one. That's not looking too bad, and I would not have the charts up here as I'm running through it. Sorry about that, team. Smash the like, team. We're going to wrap it up here. NTR, ADM, Best Buy to the downside. We'll see what happens on that one. Is X going to give it to me tomorrow? Find out. You guys can keep up with all the action on live trading, of course. That's also our stream that starts at 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. That's where we do a lot of the day trading action, but also talk about these swing trades. That's where some get closed, of course, if they go through my risk during that show or at any point. I take care of them, right? And I think that that's the important thing. Keep up with all the action we do right here. Hit the subscribe button down below. And like always, you guys can be verified the moment that we go live. If you guys check that bell below and catch us tomorrow, pre-market prep, Joel Alconin will be back. And of course, we'll talk to Dennis Dick, see what we see in the market, and can we continue to see this sideways action in the market? I think we will. The chop game was strong today. I still expect a couple of chop games the next couple of weeks until we get to the interest rates. We'll look to see what happens. We closed in the red today, coming right back down below those kind of pre-market lows. We'll look to see if we cut 397 in the overnight action. Smash the like, team. We'll see you next time. Like always, right here on Start Swing Trading. Don't forget, we got some great guests later in the week. Christian Fromhertz, Anne-Marie Band, Option Mike. We got Michael CMT. You guys don't want to miss it. I want to see you guys right here. You guys know it. Start Swing Trading. We'll see you next time.